Hello. Welcome again to another beautiful episode of the Coming Home to You Sparkcast. It's the sanctuary for soul-led women, healers, mamas, visionaries, and leaders that are ready to rise fully in their light. Here, we remember what it really means to come home to ourselves, beyond the roles, the noise, and the expectations, because coming home to you is not a destination. It's a devotion. And this is a space where progress matters more than perfection. And this is the space where progress matters more than perfection. And every episode is an invitation and a step on that journey and a breath of remembrance, the chance to really reconnect with your true self and embrace the unique path unfolding before you. And as before, we are going to dive into our one breath and one heart ritual as we always do before we begin. And it's a sacred moment for us to really align and unify and return to one heart. Together, let's breathe as one. So wherever you are, just allow your shoulders to settle, to drop, placing one hand in your heart and the other in your womb and your belly. And just taking a deep breath in through your nose, really deep breath, feeling that breath coming up to the top of your crown, holding it there for 4 counts. And when you're ready to release, I want you to release for a long 8-count breath out your mouth. Really feeling yourself pushing and releasing anything that's heavy, anything weighing on you. Maybe it's something that is sitting with you from yesterday or this morning, or earlier in the day. Just allow yourself to be grounded in this space in your body. Now I want you to picture a swirling golden light in front of you. And as you take another deep inhale through your nose, I want you to breathe that golden light in through your heart center, allowing it here to glow and to expand within you. And as you feeling your heart expand, bring to mind something that you're grateful for. Allowing that gratitude to lift you, to hold you. And if it feels right, smile into it with your whole being. And when you release the breath, feel that gratitude rippling out towards everyone in this space, in this room. Take another deep breath in here, and this time I want you to just stack another in gratitude moment to amplify the original gratitude, to really allow it to expand and ground you in the blessings that surround you every moment. And as you release the breath, smile one more time with your whole being and your smile in your face. It really sends a message to your body and your brain that you're okay and you're safe in this moment. And now I want you to ground yourself in your intention. How do you want to show up? How do you want to be received and held in this space today? And just like that, we are one, connected in one breath and one heart. Thank you. Well, today, body chills already. Just saying. That's usually my cue, knowing that this conversation is going to be epic. So wherever you are, grab your cafecito and make sure that you turn off all the distractions. This is the episode that you want to fully be present for. Because today I am truly honored to welcome Zabdy Love, a transformational life coach, a spiritual mentor, and founder of Zab Warrior LLC. Love the name, by the way. She was born a pastor's daughter in El Salvador and raised in a deeply religious environment. Zabdy migrated to the U.S. as a child and went on to earn her psychology degree from Arizona State University. With more than 20 years of leadership development experience, she now truly dedicates her life to helping spiritually burnt out women, especially those raised in ministry, heal from religious trauma, religious trauma, shame, and divorce. That's beautiful work. Thank you for your work. Through her signature mind, body, and soul activation, her approach empowers women to reclaim their voice, reconnect with their truth, and awaken into spiritual freedom. So please help me welcome to the show today, Zabdy Love. You're on mute. There we go.
Wow, hello. Oh my God, Margarita. It's so great to be here with you and your beautiful family.
So excited. As I mentioned to you earlier when you jumped on the call, you really quite made an impression on me on when you were on the Soul Spark panel a few months ago. So I just was been looking forward to sitting down with you on one-on-one. So I'm grateful to have you here again, as I said. So we're
Thank
just
you.
gonna get right to it, Zabdi, like we
Yes,
always
let's
do.
go.
Yes, let's go. You ready?
Yes, I'm so excited. This is beautiful
Yes.
to be part of this work. It's an honor. It truly is.
Yes. And I could tell just by the way you were speaking earlier that you really do embody the work. So I just want to acknowledge you for being the work. It's beautiful. So we start where we always start, the deep-rooted beginning, grounding ourselves in the truth and our identity. And you were born in El Salvador as a pastor's daughter, and you later migrated here to the US. What was it like growing up in those intersecting identities? You know, Latina, immigrant, child of ministry. And then how did that shape both the challenges you faced and the resilience that you carry now today?
That question is like loaded. It's so packed. And as I was getting prepared to just share, I realize as you have moments where you take yourself out of your experience of life, and you're like, oh, this is what I did. This is what I'm doing. It's a really beautiful awareness, right? And as I've been going back in awareness to identify where I've been and what I've been creating, I realized that there was so many. Okay, pause for a second because I need to take my video off myself because I'm distracting as I'm looking. I'm like, how do I turn my? I wasn't ready for that. Let's see. Maybe pause that. Okay.
I like to spotlight you, but if it's better, you can just stare at my own.
Yeah, that's no, it works. It's so interesting because when you're like zoned and you're ready and then you have distractions, it really throws you off. And that's one really big thing that I've been in the season of just clarity, just pure clarity, turning off all these distractions, disconnecting from certain energies, certain relationships, certain peoples, and just going really, really deep. So distractions really hit me hard at times when I'm in the zone, and I'm definitely in the zone. So thank you, Margarita, for creating this space. This is healing. This work is incredible. So as I was sharing in the realization of what I've been seeing myself, this Latina girl didn't quite know the language in a new in a new world. I was my earliest experience was I was in second grade. I had somehow passed first grade without speaking English, and I was in second grade, and everybody was reading and introducing their name. I don't remember the. I just remember the feeling. I came back to this memory when I was doing deep work, and why am I so scared to be seen? Why am I scared to share myself? And I went back to an early memory as I was doing some inner work. I was in second grade, and they called. It was my turn, and it was my turn to read or to say what was being said. And I was out of my body in that moment. I just started crying because I didn't understand where I was, what was supposed to be done. And my little soul at that moment is just, I felt like I was in trouble because they took me to the office, and now I'm sitting there in the principal's office and don't really know the language. And so that was an early memory of not being able to fit in somewhere. um, I don't remember how old that was, but my mom, I grew up only Spanish speaking at home, so English was forcefully learned at school or between my siblings, which miraculously that I don't have any deeper memories of not being able to speak because I started in really early years. So that's one memory that comes to mind, and Can you rephrase the second part of the question, please?
Yeah. How did that shape both the challenges you faced and the resilience that you carry today?
Oh yes. Yeah, so that taught me for sure resilience because it reminded me that I can do anything. If I can face that, it helped me to get back up. And so how it's shaped me today from the many things, another memory that comes to mind actually is I was standing in front of church. We were singing growing up. This is in the church setting now, not in school. And we were singing. My sister's a really good singer, right? I don't feel like I'm as good as her, but she's really good. And so together we were doing a duet, and those are all like growing up insecurities, right? I was so nervous, but I also was feeling the presence of God because when you're singing in church and you feel this beautiful spirit, and I was only like 7 or 8 years old. I remember crying in front of all these people, but it was not necessarily of being embarrassed. It was this feeling of like an overwhelming love that I'm like, I can't even sing anymore. I feel so much love. And I was so little. But the after fact is where the damage came because after the performance, after the show, people started telling me, "Oh, it's okay, honey. You did really good. Don't be embarrassed. It's okay." And it's like I had no embarrassment up until the point where people started putting the embarrassment on me because I didn't have any idea that I messed up. I just had this idea like I feel so much love I can't sing anymore, and that was a huge point in my development where it was also I'm scared to be seen and express my authentic voice because if I do cry or I express any emotion at that moment I didn't fit the societal terms and it's okay if you're embarrassed but don't do it again kind of thing. Does that make sense? And so that and I'll share the third experience because this is just flowing now and I always pray and trust God that as I speak that it's words I'm channeling the words through God through Holy Spirit through my essence my higher self source universal truth is my desire and just to be a wisdom and a light to others. I believe my story is just meant to be a reflection of what someone else has. Someone else went through that too. It's okay. They can pick up from there, or my story can be an example that you can get through it too. So that was another reason that I knew that being authentic and being your voice was not my authentic self as an adult, but as a kid it was. As a kid, I was so free. I was always expressing myself, but growing in these restrictions in church as a pastor's kid, you're constantly told, be quiet, don't talk, like listen to the message. You're only going to sing when everyone's singing. You're only going to speak when you're told. And as a child, you don't know that that's because you're in the Lord's temple and these are the rules as if you were to go to a jury duty. You know, kids don't know. They just know that at that moment they're told to shut their authentic self. And then growing up, you're raised with these conditionings. I can't speak out loud. I can't say my true emotion because I'm going to somehow get shut down. So that was one other example, continuous messaging, programming. Don't say your truth. Don't speak up your emotion. And there was nothing wrong about what I was doing. It was just not the right location. And so as I'm teaching these parenting classes and how I'm bringing this to education, listen, it's not that the child is wrong what they did, it's just not the right setting. And we need to rephrase how we speak to our children. And in this moment, honey, your jumping is not appropriate because this is a sit still location. But once we go to the park, honey, you could take all that emotion out in the park. That is the key in how we're talking to our children. If I would have had that thinking growing up, which my parents did the best they could, man. They were up in the front line trying to bring people to the Lord and teaching about better life and better peace and all this. So their mindset was very focused on serving others and also coming home. They sat down and would teach us have small settings in our home. And this is another setting now. I'm just kind of giving you what's coming up in our home as 6 kids that we grew up in. I remember having family prayer nights, family like spiritual nights. prayer nights, and we would come together, and everyone had a role to share a part of what they were grateful for, and to almost like play church, right? Because at church there's the musician, and then there's the woman that gives her story, and then there's the singer. So we all had to play, not had to, but we chose to. It was my mom's way of playing with us, my dad, and I was the lady that gave the testimonies that God healed my children. It's so cute to see how my life unfolded now, that, oh, I am here testifying, giving of my story, that God's healed me. So to see that growth overall and be here now with you is truly a gift. I feel so honored. So you tell me I'm not, if I'm going overboard here with the questions, I'm here to follow in your guides, my sis.
No, I think you shared a lot of really beautiful moments, because sometimes it really isn't just the one moment, it's a collection of them, and then they kind of uh, pack onto each other, and we're like, okay, something's got to give. Like, something's got to give. And I really loved what you said about really you're teaching parents how to reframe how they speak to their child. And that is so beautiful because it's so true. It can even just be one moment where we say something, and it could even be one stranger saying something. It doesn't even have to be someone that you care a lot about, right? That matters. But as a child, you really start to collect evidence of all the parts that you're not good enough, right? And so you start to believe it. And I loved that because when we went through leadership, we taught ourselves how to reframe our own childhood beliefs that we were programmed to believe. And that's usually the second part that comes once you make that like realization of, okay, something's not working, something's got to give. The truth of who I am is this. This is me authentically living in my truth, not this version that feels confined or restricted in my authenticity. So a lot of times it really is your rising spark of overcoming all of that. And for many women of color raised in religious environments, silence, like you said, shame, and sacrifice can really feel like a cultural expectation. Can you share a defining moment when you chose to break free from those inherited beliefs and how stepping through the fire, because it feels like the fire, right? All alone too. How that became the foundation of your healing and leadership.
Oh my gosh, there's so much to say, and it's so beautiful to be able to come back and look at things from a healthy perspective, not they did this to me or this was done to me, getting really out of that victim mindset into, wow, that happened, like the meaning behind it. So one big meaning as I was preparing for this came to my mind, that I remember as a kid, before I had any real issues, just growing up as a regular happy child, had already suppressed everything that probably had a experience, but just overall, you had a really beautiful youth in church and leadership. And I remember a time I always felt like I'm gonna one day go speak at a women's shelter, because I don't know what it's like to have a hard life, but I want other women to know that life is beautiful and they could have a beautiful life. And whoever I shared it with at the time would make fun and be like, "Well, how are you going to share about getting up and being resilient if you haven't ever even lived through anything?" And
Oh
so
my
those were
gosh.
some blocks I had. I was like, "Well, I don't care. I just want to share love. I just want to be love. Maybe I don't have a hard life, but I'm going to say, hey, I love you. God loves you, and you're going to be okay. Even if it was just a smile or a hug, I just had a desire for that." And so fast forward, so I'm readjusting my chair because this is where it gets good. I go through this season of, fast forward to, I'm married and I'm pregnant, and I was pregnant before I got married. So I'm this pastor's kid that got pregnant outside of wedlock, but we planned the wedding like if nothing happened. That's part of my story, which I want to share more later, and I'm not ready to go into detail with that. But in that shame, I carried shame from being pregnant. I The lights went out at me. Instead of having this beautiful experience first time pregnancy, it was like suddenly I had a, a weight of shame, because this what was beautiful experience has now turned into, oh my God, you're pregnant and you're not married. And that really just, it shook my core to the point of I really got to know God because it was like me, God, it's just me, you know my heart. Like this was purity, this love expression. And now I'm suddenly in a system that's saying what this pure love you experienced was wrong. It was not in the right time. You did it out of the bounds of marriage. And my soul was in agony. It was like,
Mm,
I'm a wrong person. I'm sinful, but this was love. This is my daughter. Like, there's no way I'm giving this baby up. And it was just, this is post marriage after the like, oh my God, plan the wedding phase. Even though I was deeply in love, we were both in love. And it's incredible, like looking back and seeing that shame I carried was so unnecessary. If someone would have kindly said, look, honey, this is what is believed in a system, but it doesn't always have to make you the wrong being. There's nothing wrong with you, and this child you're about to give life is actually your greatest gift.
mm,
Like you don't see that now, but you'll see it later. If someone would have said something like that to me, I think I would have had a better experience. So it was very painful. And so what helped me get out of that shame, that bondage, 'cause it was darkness. It was like hell. It was
mm.
all torment. It was right here. I looked great on the outside. Everything looked great on the outside, but in here and in here, I was blacked out. I was I was programmed. Everything is outside. Learn to smile. Remember to smile. Everything's fine. Smile. And in how I knew it was anxiety. I had this overwhelming anxiety, but I didn't know what anxiety, why I had that. This is post marriage,
Mhm.
after I had my first kids, and in this journey, right? It's all been a journey. I What really helped me get out in that time was after I had my daughter, about a year and a half. She was about a year and a half. I decided I need to get out of this darkness. I need to serve. And I signed up on Meetup to volunteer. And I just put homeless shelters volunteer, women's shelters volunteer. And I started signing up. And somehow, fast forward to that moment, I was now speaking Mondays at a women's shelter called the Shade Tree in Las Vegas, where I lived at the time, was living in Las Vegas because I moved from Phoenix. I got married, and my former husband is in Las Vegas, or at the time, my kids were all born there. But fast forward to now, I'm here in Arizona again. So in that experience to serve these women, it was healing. But here's the like the big deal. I was doing what is like a paradox, because in the belief system I grew up in, you women don't wear jewelry, women don't do their nails, they don't wear pants. So there's a lot of guidelines, and everything is for a reason. I see it differently now. But in that system at the time that I was in, I was considered sinning for wearing pants and having. I actually went for a dark color. I couldn't do red because I wasn't that happy, and I wasn't that black. I couldn't do black. So I went maroon. I put maroon on and I said, I'm going to teach these women this positive thinking class at the women's shelter, and I'm wearing pants. What now? Like, you're a sinner, but you're a giver. Like, you're giving your gift by inspiring other women to get up and rise up. But hold on, in this system that I'm born in, I'm wearing pants, and I'm wearing, oh, and I had bought some necklaces at Goodwill. I got excited buying all these next necklaces when I was kind of detoxing from that belief system. And it was just incredible to be like, oh my God, I did it. I remember as a little girl, I wanted to go speak at women's shelters, and I didn't know how I was going to inspire them. And here I am, I'm doing it. I'm going to these classes, I'm inspiring these women. But even though I look like a sinner to the people that where I grew up, and that's okay. I'm just gonna let that go for now. I'm gonna put that to rest. I don't have to feel that shame anymore. I'm helping these women. And as I'm helping these women, they're actually helping me heal. I was the one going home feeling whole, because I was like, wow, I can't even believe what it's like to go to what they're going through. All I could think about is I'm not there. Thank God. I mean, these were 50-year-old women who had already, their kids had grown, they had gone through divorce, in their late 50s, in their 60s. No one's taking care of them anymore. Like, everyone's just sucked the life out of these women, and these women did not even know how to love themselves.
Mm,
Oof, girl, we can go into that, just that in itself. But that's
dude. Yeah, full
how we doing
body
with
chills
time.
and everything you said. And what stood out to me the most, uh, And I think it's because I saw myself in it, in that story, was how are you going to help others when you haven't really fully healed yourself yet, right? But what I also heard you say so beautifully, because I actually wrote it down in my notes, and you said it right after that, was in the act of serving, you started to heal your soul and grounding yourself in the truth of who you are outside of the noise of expectations of the role that you were brought up to be. And it's so funny how I mean, not funny, haha, obviously, but interesting how we always see ourselves through that lens of others expectations on us, others ideas of the role that we're supposed to carry, and we lose ourselves in that.
Yes, we do.
And one of the important things to remember as you do the work is to stay in the work, is to have those sacred rituals, the tools that help you stay grounded in the truth of who you are. And I think one of the first ones that I was told by our trainers was to start looking for evidence of my greatness, and that really helped. Because if you're going to look for something, regardless if it's a positive thing or a negative thing, you're going to find it. Because that's how powerful we are. If you're going to search for it, you're going to find it. Trust me. So start looking for the goodness in you. And that's what I was hearing you saying, that even though you were having this like juxtapose, almost like an oxymoron, right? You're like, I'm a sinner because I'm wearing pants, right? And it sounds absurd, but it's a true religious belief and a cultural, um, that generational that we keep bringing forward. So
And
I,
there's needs for it.
yeah.
I see it now, like I see now why certain cultures do certain things. They're trying to
Mm,
block out the areas that have kept them in bondage. Like
mm,
if a woman is wearing pants in front of the presence of a man that has been in lust, in sexual addiction for years, is trying to get out of that, then if you present him with this I perception of what he's used to going into, then there's so much there we can go into, but I see it
mm,
now. Before I was mad at it. I'm like, you're making women wrong. You're making this wrong. And it's like, hold on, it's not no one making no one wrong. It's just in the system that we're trying to bring healing, teach healing, train others to a better, higher vibrational existence, better connection with Christ. In the system, this is how it works. So if you don't like the system, then you can leave. It's not for you. And that was not what I was taught. I was taught, you stay in the system no matter what. The system is going to keep you all the way to heaven. Well, the systems are supposed to help guide us in that season of our life.
mm.
And a lot of people get stuck. And so now I think I got
Yeah.
on a tangent. There was
No,
my
no, it's
preaching.
great. It's great. I love, because, this is authenticity, and whatever comes up in conversation, we get to just flow with. So thank you for being open. But yeah, one of the things that I'm sure has supported you is having those sacred tools, like your faith or wellness, and to maintain wellness and inner resiliency. And your mind, body, and soul activation approach is such a powerful reclamation of wholeness, first of all. So how does your lived experience as a Latina woman navigating the cultural inequality and religious trauma infuse this method, and what tools within it have been most transformative, not just for
Yes,
you,
the
but for your
tools.
clients? Yeah.
Yes, the tools. I remember in preparing for this, and I'm like, okay, the tools. What tools have helped me? Because you're only as good as your tools, right? You can only move on to the next step if you have the tools and you have the capacity to use the tools. And so my biggest tool that I will always lean on is my relationship and connection with higher source, with God, with Holy
Mhm.
Spirit, with light language. I grew up, the term was speaking in tongues. So at the age of 7, I remember receiving what we called in the system I grew up in, the gift of the Holy Spirit, and the fire of the Holy Spirit. And that presence was almost, it was like not like possessing you to do something, but more like clothing you to feel something. So it was like a feeling that brought peace, right? Same feeling I got when I started singing the song and I started crying, that feeling. But this time my mouth started shaking and I started to speak in like kind of like a childlike language, like kids make up language. La, 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 la. Have you ever played with kids and they don't know what they're saying and they're just like, la, 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 la. Like my
And
kids
they're
did it
totally
all the time. It's
talking.
the cutest. It's so cute.
Yeah.
Well, that was a representation of my gift of receiving that language. And that language is like a child. You grow and develop and develop. So that has been my biggest tool because in the moments that I felt like quitting and I didn't know what to do, I started to pray and then I connected with that higher spirit, higher source, and then would start to speak in the language. I didn't always understand it. If you have that gift or that understanding of it's available for anybody, right? It's just it's a beautiful tool. Not everyone has that tool, and that has helped me. And then also mindset and looking in the mirror, like how I speak to myself. Like I couldn't even look in the mirror for years because I
Mm.
hated myself. Why? I was so inauthentic. I see you, sis. I couldn't, and it was not and people would say, "You're so beautiful." Like, what the heck? I was like, it's because you don't see what I see. Like, I see shame,
Mm.
I see anger, I see resentment, I see like I've messed it up. I didn't fit the system I was grown into. I've messed it all up. And that's all I could see. I was a mess up. And so as soon as, and that's why they call it the shadow work, because you really go into that deep layer of yourself. Why do you hate yourself so much, Zabdi? Why are you so upset at yourself? What is it that you're hearing that's causing that? And that leadership training is what gave us the tools, right? Another um, uh, just a contract, we call a contract, though no matter how you were feeling, this contract was who you are. And my contract and who I believe I am, besides having that gift of connecting to the higher source, and light language, was also now looking in the mirror how I talk to myself, and and movement has been huge. Creativity, like I started expressing myself through dance, I started doing art, I've started laughing more, just taking it slow, taking time to just be. And so it's a process. It's a lot, but you can learn and move forward with even just the one tool you have right now with you, and that is how you talk to yourself. Working
Mm.
on that.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Um, I love that you incorporate movement and creativity as a process, because that's what has helped keep me grounded back to me, right?
Yes.
I was able to let go of that moment. And I think we forget that moments are fleeting too. This too shall pass, but in the moment it feels like this is the end all, right? Like I actually was starting to get teary-eyed when you were talking about not being able to see yourself in the mirror. And because all you kept seeing was shame, brokenness, how you let people down all the time. And I don't know if it was the same for you, but for me, it just didn't align with how I truly felt about who I am as a person. And I was like, why do I feel like I'm not this broken person that is messing things up and everybody else is, you know? And I think earlier you mentioned if you had somebody telling you not to be ashamed for being pregnant outside of wedlock and to just talk to you with compassion and love and inclusion and belonging, you would have had a different experience altogether, especially with your first pregnancy. And so it just really grounds in the importance of our community, having the community that's going to see you in your light, who's not going to be enrolled in your smallness, and who's always going to bring you, call you lovingly forward into the truth of who you are. And so many of us Latinas carry the weight of generational stories around sacrifice, service, and even silence. You know, you talked about earlier having to be told to be quiet all the time and almost kind of like, don't be a child. Don't be a child who's free and bold and um, so how do you create that safe space for these women and yourself to reclaim their voice? And what role does representation, visibility, and sisterhood really play in breaking those cycles?
This is so important because this is now speaking to the next generation on how important it is to do the work. Like we are responsible to do our work. for our future generations, for those that are coming after us. And if we're not doing our own work, we're selfish. And selfish is not always a bad thing. I think the real thing is we're hurt. When we're not able to do our own work, we're really hurt. And it's like hurting people hurt people.
Mm.
So as those leaders of light, healers of light, bringers of the message, ambassadors of the new earth, and whoever we are here called to be, it is our responsibility to do exactly what we're doing, Margarita, to be visible, to speak our voice, to share our message, to be the example that we are seeing in our healthy spaces. Like now that I feel whole and I feel complete, and I'm still working on myself. There's so many areas, like in my financial area, I'm still working on, bettering my relationship with my children. Like there's so many things that we're going to constantly be growing. But in the meantime, being able to just trust the process, trust you're doing the best that you can. Trust if you're putting one foot in front of the other. Trust if you said God and or help, or it's coming. It's coming. Just now, wait. Like when you put your order in Amazon, it doesn't come right away. You gotta wait, and it tells you how long you're gonna wait. But now sometimes here we are waiting and waiting, and when we get mad and we quit, it's like no, that delivery was actually gonna take 4 years. But here things move slowly here on Earth. In other planets, things are speed, right? So I talk to myself like that as a reminder, like, hey, if you put in the order, just wait, it's coming, and that's the patience. And as far as the representation, one beautiful example that I have to share, I want to share was my mom. Even though it was a shock for all of us, and the story share on more later, my mom was a queen. Like she honored me. My dad was a king. He honored me. Both my parents helped me make sure that I got married like a princess. Like my mom said, honey, you are a queen. No matter what, God loves you. Everything is gonna be okay. Like the outer voices of the systems were drowning me, but to come back to remember that from my mom, it was like everything flushed out. And remember, she's right. I'm a queen. I'm a
Mm.
princess. I'm God's queen. I'm kingdom. I'm kingdom, no matter what. And planting that continuous seed really helped me to remember who I am. Remember where
Mm.
you come from. Remember why you're here. Remember what's happening. It's that, exactly that, happening. It's happened. It's done. You're a queen, and you came to be that, the warrior of light, the warrior of love, the giver of hope, the giver of truth, the representation of what it is like to have a beautiful life, a blessed life, a whole, just like complete, like all the pieces fit. And now you can actually really look forward to waking up. Even if you are tired, even if you are feeling beat up, it's like, "Ah, I'm just tired. It's going to be all right. I'm going to catch up to myself." And then enjoying the journey, enjoying this experience, because it doesn't last long. We're only here for however long we're here. Our days are not, our days are numbered, they're known up there, but we don't know them. We don't know. Today is today, and it's about being present, to give the love, take care of yourself, honor those around you, and enjoy life, have fun. If you're not having fun, man, change it up. Like you gotta
Yes.
move, you gotta move.
Yes. What a beautiful call to action. Like enjoy yourself, enjoy your life. It's fleeting, it's really small blip in the cosmic timeline. Um, and it was beautiful what you said. You are a queen and you came here to be the warrior of love and light and truth. Like, yes, queen, we are, and yes, you are out there listening. And this is, have this today, this call alone, be that reminder that it's not a one and done. Right? We talk about that so much. And I actually opened my Sparkcast by saying it's not a destination, it's a devotion. And it really um is a practice. There were times when I started feeling broken because I would have aha moments and I would have breakthroughs in the room. And I was like, oh, yes. But then I would still make a mistake again about doing the same thing. And it was just recognizing after a while that that's part of the work.
Yeah.
And a part of the work is the awareness of, oh, look, I did that thing again. That I told myself with something that is not my authentic truth. And so I loved what you shared because it really did kind of ground the call in the importance of just doing the work. When you step into the role of service, I forget where I was. I was listening to somebody talking about they didn't know what else they could learn from a woman who was doing a sermon. Right? They followed this woman, and she's like, I don't know what else I can learn from her. I watch every single episode and maybe two or three times, and I just don't know if I could ever learn more from this person. And then what they said was that they asked God, and what came through from Source was, it's because you're full, and now it's time for you to serve and to give back. And I was just like, chills, just even repeating it. And I heard you say that in here. So thank you for allowing us to know that sometimes the healing is in the serving. And that's what this Sparkcast has been doing for me. And it's very powerful when you show up in community, when you um, sometimes you don't even know, you just know that you want to serve. And if you trust and surrender, like you said, knowing that you are a child of God and of light, that the path will unfold before you, and that you'll start to find the truth of who you are and where you are. And you'll the only way to know is to go.
Yes.
The
Yes,
only
that's
way to
it.
know is to go. You don't know if there's going to be a dead end, but that's fine. You could turn around and come back and be like, well, that one didn't work. I got to
Yes.
find a different route to get there.
Yes.
So thank you so much for just lovingly invite us to be in that place, and how important community is. But I think the most important thing is also what I heard you say was reframing you and who you believe you are outside of the noise. I think was so powerful. And so there are women out there struggling, right? Who are listening today, who still feel spiritually burnt out, silenced by the cultural expectations, or even trapped by the shame and the guilt, um, and the, expectations. So what message of remembrance or freedom would you want to leave them with today, especially those who may not yet believe that they deserve to come home to themselves?
Yeah. That part about them, especially if they don't believe, like that really hurts whenever, because it reminds me when I didn't believe either, and that I could even ever have remotely at least a little bit of what I'm experiencing now. One basic example was I was in this belief system growing up, and I really wanted to wear jewelry. I just really wanted to wear jewelry. I really wanted to wear, colorful stuff on my face. I've never been huge on makeup, but it was just those little things. Like it was more than just vanity. It was like self-care, but I didn't know that, and I just, something in me just said, Zabdi, just believe it's possible. Believe that you do deserve it. Why not? And I would try, and I would try like just a little thing, right? Just okay, put on just one little necklace. I hadn't even pierced my ears. I didn't pierce my ears till I was 30. And so it was just like those things is like just try it a little bit enough to where I was like, okay, I don't feel like I'm gonna die of shame. I'm okay. But I know my boundaries. Like I know I'm not gonna go. So it's really it's learning your boundaries and learning
Mm,
that you are safe taking the next step forward when your soul's calling you. And one really big way you know your soul's calling you is if you have anxiety.
mm,
Anxiety is actually not even bad. Anxiety is an alarm. It's like, uh-oh, it's a wake up. It's like, bzz, 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 uh-oh, something's off. Something's off. And so for me, having that continuous anxiety, I was shutting off a voice inside of me, and that was causing the anxiety. So if you are experiencing, you're not sleeping, you're feeling it physically in your body, you can't start, and run a marathon right now. You're gonna have to do baby steps. The baby steps are first believe that you can have where your soul's calling you. Believe. If it's not hurting anyone, then why would God give you that dream? Why would you even have this dream to do something great or to do this beautiful thing if it would cause pain on someone else's life? No. Those are the lies. Those are the lies that we need to really face and say, how is this going to hurt someone else? If it's going to nourish me and feed me, if I want to move forward, but if it's going to nourish and destroy other people. You got to ask yourself these questions. Use your discernment. You have the discernment. You have love. You're a mom. If you're a mom, you know what that's like. You had your children. You have this connection with something outside of you. This is outside of us. Like, to be able to give a life, to hold birth, it's outside of us. And even if you don't have physical children, you have earthly children that you've nurtured. You're a caretaker. And it's not just for women, it's for men too. It's like you have the capacity to care for others. Start with you. Start believing that it is possible for you, because you deserve it. You are it. Just see yourself. Just see it done, and one baby step at a time. And connect with people like Margarita. Please call her. I'm sure we're ready to support, right? Connect with us.
Yes, connect with us. Oh my gosh, I felt your heart so profound in that. It really just resonated so deeply with me, and I could feel your love for humanity and for the work that you do. And um, like really, yes, just start with baby steps and start with the belief that you are worthy. I love that. Um, and yes, so the invitation is for others to be able to connect. And I love that. So Zabdi, this has been such a powerful conversation. And for those who of us want to go deeper into your work and connect with your offerings, where can they find you? Or do you have a free offering for them today?
Yes, definitely coming back to the heart of service. I'm opening a space for 5 women for free to have a healing session. So the first 5 women that can connect with me, we're going to have a small group share healing. We're going to do some mirror work, working on ourselves, how we talk to ourselves, and just really letting some stuff go that we're not comfortable letting others go. And that it's interesting, Margarita, because I've been under wraps for a while, and I'm just always like, okay, I'm ready when you're ready. And it's like that jump rope feeling, right? Do I jump in or do I
Yes.
quit? And it's like that's how it's always gonna be. You just gotta jump in. And it's funny because I've been working with a friend that trading services with digital artists, and for a long time I wanted my website done, and I was like, I just couldn't figure it out, and I couldn't afford anybody to pay it. And it's just amazing how God and the universe and all our angels and all those helping us bring people together. And now I have a website, and actually came live on Friday last week, like three or 4 days ago. I haven't even shared it. I've only shared it with a few handful of people, but this is me sharing my journey, because I've been in such a space of preservation. So to be able to share now with you, Margarita, with your audience, and with those listening, I feel so blessed. So my website is zabdylove.com. So it's just my name, zabdylove.com. And you can just find out a little bit more. It's still under wraps. I'm putting some more things in there, but it's officially live now. Thanks to Daniel DM Marketing Consulting.
Great. And in that website, we'll be able to find the contact for these 5 women to reach out to you and
Yes,
connect with
in
you.
the
Great.
we'll send an email, and my phone number is on there as well.
Great. Just let them know that you saw Zabdi on the Sparkcast so that she
This
can
podcast.
um, remember who you are and how
Thank
you
you.
reached out to her. But wow, I just want to say there were multiple times I have full body chills, and that for me is the God truths, like the God bumps. Like it's when truth and authenticity come together. And so I just want to thank you so much for just being really grounded in this conversation and sharing so much of yourself the way that you did. It felt truly honoring to have you here, and I look forward to having you on the Sparkcast again. We have many multiple panels that I'd love to. Oh, and then I'm going to launch a mom Sparkcast, so maybe we can come together and talk about
Oh,
parenting, because that's really
yay.
the next step, I think, is really supporting the parents of the next generation. As you said earlier, when you heal yourself, it is that representation for us to
Yes.
help the next generation. So thank you for
Yes.
that.
Yes, thank you for
So
giving the space for faith. I want to leave this last thing with faith. You don't have to have all the answers to get started, just to make that connection. It's just as simple. Just take this one step. That's all. If that means send a message like, you don't know, I don't know what is it going to cost or what is it going to be, like, just take the step to make the connection, and you will be guided on the next step. Stay the step you're in. All
Stay in the
right.
step
Thank
you're in and
you.
trust the process was something that I
Yes.
heard you say too, which is so key. Something that I started to chant, trust the process, stay in the step you're in, trust the process, stay in the step you're in, and it really does support. So thank you for that. But as we close this sacred conversation with Zabdy Love, we are reminded that so often it's not the event itself that we carry, but the feeling it left behind. Too many times others place shame and insecurity upon us, and we adopt them as our own. But this conditioning is not the truth of who we are. At our core, we are light. We are worthy. We are love. Zabdi also reminded us that reframing our identity back to our authentic spark is the goal, that it begins with gentleness in how we speak to ourselves and how we show up for others. It asks us to release the victim mindset, to shed the bondage of limiting beliefs that keep us small, and to remember that when we serve in generosity, we heal our own souls. Healing is not a destination, but a journey, one that invites us into mirror work, shadow work, movement, and creativity to process what weighs us down. It's a journey that requires us to trust the process, surrender, and lean into the guidance of a higher power. Because when we embody light codes and vibrate higher, we not only heal ourselves, we heal generations to come. We are reminded that hurt people, but healed people heal people. And that by doing our own work, we become living examples of what is possible. You are kingdom. You are a queen. And you came here as a warrior of love, light, and truth. So believe that you are worthy because you are. Believe that you can heal because you can. And remember, God loves you just as you are. This conversation sparked something within you. If your heart cracked open just a little more, maybe you felt seen, heard, or simply not alone. I ask you, sisters, please share this and subscribe to our channel because when you do, this content can reach more women out there who need the reminder that she is not alone, that her voice matters, and that healing is possible. So remember, you're exactly where you're meant to be. I am your host, Margarita Rose, here today with Zabdy Love on the Coming Home to You Sparkcast. We'll see you next week, same time, same Spark channel. Love you guys.